G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the YouTube channel. How are we all doing today on this fine, well, afternoon I suppose. It's not supposed to rain today, which means it's a good old bike night kind of thing, baby. I'm just on my way to work right now. Thought I'd smash a cheeky video whilst I'm here. And, well, I thought about what to do today. And it occurred to me there's a good chunk of riders who have an irrational fear of something, okay? Now look, when we all start riding, we usually all have this fear, but some of us never get over said fear. And it's a reasonable fear, but I'm here to tell you that it's just that. It's irrational, alright? You don't need to fear such a thing. And of course, I'm talking about the irrational fear of dropping or dumping your motorbike, okay?
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just...
The chances of it happening are probably 100% in your riding lifetime, but it's not as common of a thing as you'd think it is. Now, there are people who drop it more often than others. There are some that have never dropped a bike in their life to date, and there's just, you know, the in-betweens. So, like, if you look at my mate Jason, he's dropped his bike a few times. You look at me, I've dropped the Rebel once. You got other people who get forced to drop their bikes, like Hugh got grabbed and then his bike fell down. But the point being is, once you realise that the bike's going to fall down and it's not the end of the world, you realise it's not that bad of an issue in the first place. Like, yes, it sucks sometimes, especially if you have like a lot of fairings, because the plastic can get expensive. But more so on the leader bikes and fancier bikes like Ducatis and all that, where if you dump one of those, well, it's going to break the bank a little bit, I suppose. But on the smaller bikes, it's not going to be the worst thing in the world. So a big fear of people is dropping the bike. Says, oh, I'm going to damage my bike, I'm going to scratch the bike. Yes, you're going to scratch the bike a few times. If it's your first bike ever, you treat it like it's your first car, okay? It's going to get a little bit of damage. It's going to be a little bit abused. It's the way it's going to be. So a lot of people buy second-hand bikes for this reason. I bought a first-hand bike as a learner bike, which wasn't the smartest thing statistically, because you're statistically going to do some damage to your first bike, and I did drop the bike, and I've low-sided the bike, but guess what, you can't even tell the damage has been done, because there's nothing left, because it's all been fixed. But like, it's not the end of the world, man. You can get everything repaired on bikes. That's the good thing about bikes. With cars, when you get things repaired, it's obvious sometimes, especially if you've got frame damage, that it's been fixed. But with bikes, a lot of the time, you can't really tell when things have been fixed and replaced, which is a good thing about them, because, well, they look newer for longer, I suppose. But all these people that sit out there going, oh, I don't want to do this because I might drop the bike, don't want to try this because I might dump the bike. You just sort of got to get to that headspace of getting over it, because it's really not that big of a deal. I used to be like, I'll never drop my bike, it won't be that bad. But then I was in the garage and I got my boot stuck on that little pin on the kickstand that's meant to be for your boot to, you know, find the kickstand. And then, of course, I bent it back into place, forgot that I left it up, tried to put the bike down, and, well, the bike leaned a little bit further than anticipated because, well, the kickstand was up. And I went to put the bike on the stand, and it just kept going, and it fell over. I looked at it, and I laughed my ass off, because it's just that. It's just a bit of damage, man. I cracked the clutch lever in half, but that's what that little chip's in it for. It's designed to snap at that specific point for a reason. So handlebars move, you bend them back. Something cracks, you replace it. Look, it sucks in the short term, but it's not the end of the world. And it's just something a lot of you newer guys need to figure out and come to terms with. Because I have a mate who won't go on certain roads because he doesn't want to drop his bike. Whereas Jason and I, half the fucking time we ride, we're riding in the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere, on a gravel road, to God knows where. Shit, I took this bike up a 4B trail. It's not made for it in the slightest, and the chain's tension was fucked, but hey, the bike survived. I'm sure that vibration's probably one of the reasons one of my license plate bolts fell out, but we moved. Now there's a zip tie doing the job. It's doing the Lord's work in there. But there are riders who hold themselves back because of fear of destruction, and like, I can understand if you're scared about dropping it going 130 kilometers around a turn or something, because that's not a really beginner thing to do when you're trying to get a knee down, you're at the bikes, alright, that's when you're trying to improve. But you can always buy sliders and shit to try and mitigate the damage you have on a bike or a crash bar, right? I'm just talking about your slow speed U-turns, or your hairpin turns, or just stationary dropping because of wind if you're standing at a set of lights or you're trying to get off. I'd say it's a little bit more common for the smaller rider on, say, an adventure bike or a sport bike to drop it because, you know, you ain't got the flat foot, which means you're less stable. And fair enough, it's a bit intimidating, especially those people you see can only get one leg down on the adventure bikes. Those things are goddamn tall. But I'd say, like, if it's on the Rebel or something and you're fearing of dropping the bike, well, look, besides forgetting the kickstand, that's probably the only thing you're going to forget. You really shouldn't be dropping this bike. Now, Jason, when he first started riding, never rode a bike in his life, dropped the highest on cruiser he had, I think, 3 times. And hey, every single time, that's a bit shit, repaired the peg, off he goes. Bought his little sport bike, dropped it a few times, it is what it is, and now he's got brand new fairings, bike very sexy, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things. It sucks, but you get over it and then you repair it or you make it better, in Jason's case, with the new fairings. It's really simple stuff. Oh man. It's like, it's funny listening to the newer riders, they fear doing stuff. It's like, oh, I don't want to do that, I might damage it. You're like, calm your tits, chief, you'll be okay. There'll be much worse things to worry about, like someone turning out in front of you or cutting you off and hitting you, than it is just dropping the bike. It's not a big of an issue as some of y'all think it is, and well, that's why I'm here today to tell you that you should not be worrying about such nonsensical businesses. Well, besides that, guys, it's a short video today, honestly. It's like, it wasn't intended to be a long one. It's just something that's, you know, I just thought about before I headed out. And it's true, though. It's such a stupid fear, and it limits some people from doing some stuff because they're just scared about dropping. And look, I get it, you don't want to damage your baby, but chill, homie, it's just a bike. As long as it falls down and you don't break yourself when you fall with it, if you fall with it at all, well, that's a win, because at the end of the day, the bike can be replaced, whereas you cannot. So, that's all I have time for. I hope you guys have enjoyed cutting in. Sorry if I was a bit late to the uploads this week. The weather has not really been permitted for good riding behaviours, plus I have been busy. Oh well, it's only a day. You'll forgive me, right, kids? But yes, hope you've all enjoyed today's video, so don't forget to take it easy, keep it cheesy. Do leave a like, comment and subscribe, and as always, have a good one. Peace, bye!